Hey everybody, it's Bible Girl, VEDA Day 2. Alright, so today I wanted to kind of talk about a book that I really love and adore. It's The Giver. I'm doing this on my iPhone, so this is probably mirrored. Yeah, I'm gonna say this is mirrored. But this is The Giver. And I want to talk about The Giver because I'm gonna actually start an R&R series really soon. Possibly tomorrow, for The Giver. Those of you who don't know what R&R is, it stands for Recap and Review, and I go over a book that I had read previously and discuss it off of how it's different from my memory, what it means, stuff like that, and it's kind of fun. The Giver is one of my favorite books from my early teens, and is one of those books that have made a huge impact on my life. I was a huge reader growing up. I loved it. There were books that I'm definitely attached to that definitely emotionally hit me as a child. And before I read this in 8th grade. And maybe I will do some of those ones too. But this is one of the first maybe 3 pieces of fiction that definitely impacted me. And it's definitely a version of storytelling I wasn't used to. It was my first dystopian. And it hit me in a way that books hadn't. I was looking at it in a deeper level as a 13-year-old, and my brain starting to develop different ways to view things. I just saw so much. I loved the idea of how the world was black and white when things were simple and how color meant something. I loved the really complex and difficult emotional ideas about if a person isn't capable of being a part of society and taking care of society, like the elderly or feeble children, that they're killed off. That hit my brain intensely, and I totally disagreed with the concept in the novel, but it made me just think about people and other people's points of view about stuff. The use of just what all the particular memories were that Jonas received and how they affected him and how it changes him, and he wants the world to be different, and he wants to save a baby, and he wants to fight, and his fight is just escaping, and all that entails were so amazing to my 13-year-old brain. And I haven't read it in a really long time, so this will be a fun trip to go back, but the last chapter I remember reading in 8th grade, and I remember thinking, my gosh, when I was reading that chapter. It gives you, or at least in my recollections, I haven't read it again since maybe like the first year of college, and I've been out of college for several years now. It gives you this idea, at least the way I interpreted that, Jonas is hearing music for the first time in the last chapter, and he doesn't entirely understand it. And I remember reading that, and I felt like my mind had blown about what music was and how music just encapsulates all emotion, and it is strong and beautiful and powerful in this book, and I just remember adoring it. So we're going to do R&R because I love The Giver, and the movie is coming out in August, and I am terrified of their making a movie about The Giver. The reason I'm not too comfortable with the idea of doing a movie of The Giver is I don't know if they can do it properly. The trailer scared me without the black and white or anything, but it was a trailer. They could have altered coloring just to get people in the seats, or maybe things are taking place later than I'm thinking they are in the trailer. But I'm afraid it's going to turn into, we want to make this like the Hunger Games or something stupid like that, when this book is amazing and it's very strong and powerful on its own. like I said, the thing about no music, no color, things like that, I don't know if that's a good thing to change over to the film medium. And the fact that I have a huge fear that they're not even going to try to adapt these concepts into something different for the medium scares me too. This book hit me in a way that really not many books had up until that point in my life. So The Giver. If you haven't read it, go read it. You can follow along with me as we go through R&R. All right. Love you guys. God bless. And I will see you tomorrow for day 3 of VEDA. Bye.